About 6 or 7 months ago, I bought a whole kit of Makita Cordless power tools. There was 10 in the pack, and I'm a little embarrassed to say that I still haven't unboxed or used most of them. I've just been way too busy. Hey guys, Chris from the Ultimate Recycler. The time has come to unbox another Makita power tool and put it through its paces and show you guys, well, explain to you guys what I know about it and what I think about it and how it performs. I'm not a review channel. I don't get paid by anyone. I get no kickbacks at all. I'm just figure I'm buying tools for my use. I might as well share what I find out, and it might help someone else out. Now, I'm not a professional carpenter. I have to admit I have not even used a router. So there we go. Let's find out together what this is like, what it can do, and how good it is. Let's unbox it. Now, I don't think I've actually used a router. I can't remember it, so it clearly wasn't memorable if I have. I don't do a lot of woodwork. Well, I do a bit, but I tend to use traditional old tools. I've quite often cut a piece of timber with a handsaw rather than get out the circular saw. But now that I've got the Makita circular saw, I do use that a lot, and it's fantastic. I don't know if I mentioned, but I will put the links underneath for the tools that I have reviewed to date, which is really only the angle grinder and the circular saw. This is tiny. It looks like a toy, but it looks well made. Mostly aluminium, very little plastic, just the holder for the battery. Now this is a model DRT50Z. Sorry, we've got some reflection there. The Z or the Z, depending where you're from, indicates that it's just the skin. It doesn't come with a battery, but with the deal I ended up with something like 7 batteries, so that's fine. So what do we got in here? Well, we've got the little gadget. We've got a plastic shroud, which I would imagine, and a little screw, so that would be your dust extraction. We'll get that out of the packet in a minute. We had some booklets. What do we got? The warranty form and a brochure. And I think I did grab the instruction manual. It's in my other room. I grabbed it out before I actually before I did this unboxing, just to have a look through it. What do we got in the packaging? Lots of cardboard, which is fine. We can recycle the cardboard. I like that there's not a lot of plastic and there's not the white polystyrene foam in here. We've got a fence assembly as a guide. We've got a tool, a couple of spanners, and some sort of little spacer bush. I'm not sure what that's for. We'll get that out in a minute. And a square base. And that's all that's in the box. So, as I said, I like that most of the packaging is recyclable. Now, these are the 18-volt platform I may have mentioned. It's most of them in the range I got are brushless motors, which is great because you get more... is this a brushless one? Yes, it says BL, so it's brushless. You get more power from the battery, longer battery life, and they run cooler, so they're a much more efficient motor. This one has 5 speeds on a dial control here. Goes from 1 up to 5. And I did read that the range of the motor is 10,000 RPM up to 30,000. So you can vary it to a pretty fast speed. And I guess you would need that for fine finishing work. Maybe some timbers like a hardwood might need a finer or a faster speed. I'm not totally sure on that. Now, our little base here, the router bit screws in the bottom there. I did buy some router bits, so we'll give it a test soon. And there's a clamp and a little screw. It's like a rack and pinion set up here for adjusting your height. So that works quite well. Now, I've looked at a few other reviews online. Because I haven't had so much experience with this sort of stuff, I've looked to see what other people have been saying, and I'll see what I think. One guy straight up said this adjustment is very, very coarse, and it's hard to get a fine adjustment because the moment you let go of it and try to move the clamp, it drops back down. But I think if you're doing it on its side, you can probably be fairly precise because it's not going to drop. You can get it to the position you want and clamp it over. So I don't see that that's really a complaint. He was showing it vertical. It's not hard to lie it on its side. We'll go through the controls. We have the speed, motor speed. We have 2 switches here. One's basically a safety, and I think when you push that, it turns the light on, and then you can start it. So you can't accidentally hit the start button when you're not ready. seems like a good idea. Now it has LED lights somewhere. I'm not sure where they shine. We'll check that out in a minute. What else can I report? Well, the battery goes on top, so it's all going to be quite well balanced. Let's get a battery. Okay, the battery will just slip in there and lock in. And I think that the battery actually gives you somewhere to hold too. So it has got a soft pad around the side, but I'm thinking you would probably hold it a bit higher than that, because you don't want your hand right on the work. I'm not sure which way we're supposed to go. I feel like I want to go that way. Now, these are available in a kit. I did see some other YouTubers review a kit where you got the skin. I think you even got a battery, and they included a plunger base, an offset base, and a tilting base. Now, if you're doing a lot of fine woodwork, that probably would be beneficial. For the amount I'm going to be doing, I don't think I'll worry about the other accessories. I assume you can probably buy them as an extra, but I've just bought the basic machine, and this is what it comes with. We do have a square plate to go on the bottom as well. I'm not sure what the difference is there. So anyway, there we go. She's a nice little compact unit. So I haven't used it yet, as you can see. Let's just turn it on and see what happens, and then we'll have a bit of a look at the accessories, and we'll actually put it in a piece of timber and see what it can do. So we've got to push the safety, and then the light comes on. Where the LED is right at the bottom here. That looks pretty good. It shines right through on your work and on the line, and it goes off after a short time. So I presume you have to press it again, but let's just try and push the on button now. So nothing. Let's just check her battery's charged. There we go. Battery has a fuel tank. I don't think it has an indicator on the actual tool, whereas my circular saw does. All right, so we know we have to press the safety first. The light comes on, then we can press the on. Now that was on 5, that was maximum. Let's try it again and turn the speed down. That's 4, 3, 2, 1. That's good control. And it's pretty quiet. I mean, the microphone's very close to it at the moment. But one thing I've noticed straight away is there's virtually no vibration. That is really, really nice to use. I reckon we could balance a glass of water on the top while it was running flat out, and there'd be no issues at all. You just have a very slight ripple. So it's nice to hold. It's not, there's no bad vibrations. I'll have to put a bit in there, and we'll see if we can make some wood chips. Just before we put the thing to work, let's just go through some of the accessories. And my first complaint, I've had a look at the book, and my first complaint that no one else has actually mentioned on any of the other reviews, it doesn't give you a picture of what you should include in what you should get in the packet. And a few people have mentioned on my other reviews that the Makita instruction booklet really isn't all that helpful, and I would have to agree. It's a little bit hard to follow. There's a lot of instructions here for the accessories that I didn't even get. So I have discovered though that this piece is it's a template piece, so that you can actually fit it to the bottom of the router, and you can run it around a template. So the top part of it actually runs around a template, and you can do repetitive jobs if you're doing the same sort of aperture on something. I probably won't use that at all, and I believe it just screws in. You've got to take this plate off, and it locks in under there, and then your router bit goes in the middle. So it just gives you a guide to make the same pattern each time. I think it probably isn't necessary to include this in the basic packet. It probably could be done as an optional extra, and I think you can get other size templates. The other problem I've got is that this square piece, I don't think should be in this kit. I think this belongs to the tilt base, which I didn't get. So again, it would be nice to have in the booklet a picture of what I should receive in the basic kit. Because I bought this lot from a large tool supplier company, and I got it in a pack, I think they grabbed some of the components in the pack off the shelf. Maybe one of them was a display piece, and they put the wrong accessories in the box. I'm not sure, but I don't think I used this piece just with the plain router. The dust shroud or the dust extractor is correct, and we'll have a look at putting that on in a minute. The 2 spanners are right, and the fence or the guide is fine, and you can actually use this to route a circle as well. I saw on someone's video, so that's pretty cool. So what are we going to do next? Well, let's see what's involved in putting the extractor on. I think it just clips in, and there's one screw to locate it or to secure it. So it goes in here, and the other reviews I saw showed this working quite well. Is that the wrong way? That way, that looks better. So how easily does it clip on? We might have to... No, it shouldn't matter what position that's in. Oh, there we go, just pushes on. So it's got a locating hole on one side and a securing hole on the other. And a few people doing their reviews pointed out this, and I totally agree with them. Why does the thread have to be so long? It only really needs to go about that far and tighten up, but we've got to screw it all the way in, and it just pokes in through the inside. What's the point? So, not that it's a major issue, but it does take quite a while to secure that firm, unnecessary length. But anyway, apparently this works well. I do have a Makita vacuum, cordless vacuum, to demo at some stage, and I might try this. The only trouble I see with this, or not so much trouble, but the whole advantage of a cordless utensil is you don't have a cord dragging behind you. Unfortunately, when you're extracting dust, you've got a large tube dragging behind you. So it may be a little bit limiting as to your movement, but I do appreciate that depending on what you're working on, if there's a lot of fine dust, if you're actually trimming MDF or chipboard, you don't want that sort of dust floating around your workshop. So I certainly can see it's necessary, but it kind of does away with the beautiful portable aspect of a cordless tool. So unless I'm doing a dusty job, I probably won't bother using this. Stand by while we unscrew this screw. Alright, so that part's pretty good. How does that come off? It's certainly quite a neat fit. Oh, there we go. The tools are self-explanatory. They fit the collet here, and to put a bit in, we'll probably get onto that next. We can take the base off, and I thought I might try a moulding bit. I bought a pack of router bits, so we'll get maybe this one out. I haven't used any of these. As you can see, they're all brand new. Oh, while I think of it, there was one complaint from another guy that said with your larger bits, this base is too small. They don't fit through it. So even though that's a 6mm shaft and the router will take it, the base, he said, is way too small, which probably makes some sense, but I would have thought that the larger router bits would be better on a larger router. And if you're a professional carpenter and doing a lot of routing work, you would have this for little jobs and you'd have a bigger router for the bigger bits. But anyway, that's a fair point he made. So to fit the bit, I think you have to put them, oh, there's a locking pin here, and I think you have to put them all the way in. So with the bit firmly in place, we can push the lock, line up the hole, push the lock, and use our spanner to just tighten the collet. You don't need it too tight. And then we can just reassemble the base. Now, I don't know if you have to remove the base to change the bits. It's awfully hard to get the large spanner into this little gap to tighten it, but I guess you can. But it's just as easy because the base comes off so easily. That's fine. Alright, so we can have that right at the top. We'll get our profile from that bit. We'll clamp a bit of wood on the bench and we'll give it a go. Okay, well, I've got our bit in, we've got our battery on. I've set the motor speed to 2 just to, we'll give it a bit of a go with not flat out speed. So my first time, let's have a look. Now we've got to push the safety first. Light comes on, then we can start it up. And we'll see what happens. I think I was trying to go the wrong way. Let's try it from this way. Okay, I've had a couple of plays, but given that I've never used one of these before, it took a little bit to get used to. I need to say that on the soft pine, I had to have a faster speed. I went up to 4 because when I only had it on 2, it would grab really quickly and stall. Well, it must have an overload feature, so the moment it grabs really quickly and bogs the motor down, it just switches off, which is a good safety. So it's just a matter of resetting the safety switch and then the on to get going again. But it did a much nicer job on the faster speed on the soft pine. I did put the router bit on with the bearing at the bottom, which runs along the edge. I guess if I was just doing thin stuff, I could use the bit without the bearing. I've still got to learn a bit of that. But it seemed to go fine, even though this is my very first attempt and I had a few hiccups. It still didn't damage the timber and it left a nice profile. So with a bit of experience, it's going to be very good. It's easy to use. A complaint someone else made about the base being too small with regards to getting a big bit in the end. I think it's also a stability issue because it's easy to get a bit of a wobble up on such a small footprint. But then again, if you're using the guide, I guess that gives you some stability. And also with the bit, with the bearing on the bit, you can push it hard against the timber and it's easier to keep nice and upright. But for someone that hasn't used a router before, I think I'll get fairly good at it fairly quickly. I can't really blame the tool for a few little hiccups I had. It's just more inexperience. But no, it feels good. It's nice and light. I think it weighs, even with the battery, I think it's only a couple of kilos. So, and it's a good size. It's the 5 amp hour battery. It feels nice. I just need to have a bit more playing time with it to get used to what it can do. The guide here is good when you're doing routing out shapes within a piece of timber. And I guess for that reason, probably the plunge base would be good, because I'm not sure how you would start a section inside the timber without having the plunge base. I would imagine it's a bit dangerous just to plonk it down by hand. So I might upgrade to one of those when I start doing a bit more woodwork. But I quite like the thing. Let's have another quick go now that I'm experienced. Well, experienced by about 3 minutes. So our bit is, I did have an issue too with the collet coming loose. So you do have to make sure the collet nut is fairly tight. But it should be right to go now. So the safety and the power. So there we go. That's not bad. After 3 minutes experience, I think this is going to be a really handy tool. Now let's give this machine a different test. This is a job that I need to do. I'm making myself a dim bulb current limiter. So if you don't know what that is and you want to find out, I'll have that video up shortly. But what I need to mount some things on the front of this board. I need to wire them behind, and I'm going to screw it to the wall. So I need to channel out some sections here. Perfect job for a little trimmer router. Let's see how we're going to go here. So I've got to take this bit off that I just used, and I think this is the sort of bit that I need. It looks like it cuts at the bottom and the sides, and it's around about the right width. And I think you can go 3 mil deep at a time, so I might have to do a couple of passes. So let's clamp this board down, put the bit in our machine, and see if we can have some success and not muck this up. Okay, let's remove the base. I think that's the easiest thing to do. And undo the collet. And fit this bit in here. And we'll make sure we'll do it tight enough this time that it doesn't fall out. And I think you've got another spanner to probably make sure it's nice and tight. I'm not sure why they give you the option of a locking button and another spanner. Okay, that should do. Now we need to set the depth this time. And we want it to protrude about 3 mil. we do have a gauge here in millimeters and in inches. So that's 3 mil on the gauge there. Oh, we're not coming right through. Oh, I guess it depends on your length of your bit, I suppose. So we're probably just best to measure on that end, and then we can always make note of what the mark is if we have to reset it to the same spot. Let's just use our calipers to check. That's pretty well exactly 3 mil. Okay, so I'm going to try this. I'll clamp the board down. Okay, that's working great. Now I will run through again and make it a little bit deeper, but it's very easy to control. I've got this shape because I've got screws from fittings on the other side, and I didn't want to take away any of the thickness of the timber, so that's why I was fairly particular where the shape was. But this is really easy to see, really easy to control. Pretty soft pine, so it's easy going for the bit. Plenty of power, and because I came in from the side, I didn't need a plunge bit. But I think it'd be quite easy with this bit just to gradually lower it quite carefully into one spot, especially on such soft timber. So look, my routing skills are probably lacking quite a lot. Clearly I haven't had the experience, and there could be tricks and tips and things that I'm not doing properly. So feel free to leave some comments. I'm certainly just reviewing this from a novice's perspective. So if you're going to buy one yourself and learn how to use a router, you might come across the same problems that I had. But this is going to solve this job beautifully, do a great job for this project. Perfect. Well, that's worked out really good. I think that will be plenty deep enough for the wiring, and I've done it freehand, and the thing's great to use. It's easy to see, it's nice and light, easy to maneuver. I'm pretty happy with that. Well, that'll finish up the review of this Makita DRT50 little mini router, or laminate trimmer, I think they call it. It does seriously look like a toy, but it doesn't perform like a toy. The only issues with this, with my tests today, were my ability to work it out and use it with virtually no experience. So apologies for the review being a little clunky, but I think people do appreciate reviews that are given by someone at their own level, and rather than you can have a professional talk to you, and the pros just forget what it's like just to be a hobbyist. So hopefully I've addressed a lot of issues. Feel free to add any tips on routing or anything and using these if you've got one at home and in the comments, because a lot of people get valuable information from reading the comments. I know I do. So it's a nice little unit. You can still buy this model new, even though they're around about 4 or 5 years old. I think the earlier reviews I saw were about 4 or 5 years. But you can still buy them. Great unit. I'm going to be really happy with it. I just got to work out all its little quirks. I haven't used the fence or the guide. I haven't tried to do a circle with it, but I'll have lots of fun trying all that stuff. But I've seen enough. I like it. I'd buy it again. Thanks for watching, guys. Catch you in the next video. Bye for now.